on that hat, and I tried it and all, especially since it has gone softer, although it has a separate brim from the crown, which is also probably made of 3 plies of gossamer, which kind of like now act like a 2-ply. Still, when I curl it, it automatically bends that ever so slightly, but not by much. See, not by much when I'm doing it there. Not by much, because it is a stiff gauze hammer and it is separated from the crown. But now, if it is true this story that when he got the hat, Mr. Thomas Cook, he apparently stepped on it and jumped on it with his heavy riding boots, and nothing happened to the hat. So he was like, oh great, this is fine. So that means it was not 4 or even probably 6 layers of gossamer. Rather, it was made exactly like a hand cap. Also pointing out to that was that the first, because Henry hats made them that way, the first derbies, they were covered in a velvet hood, just like the hand caps, not in any felted wool, whatever, or silk brush or anything, in a velvet hood. Right? So they were again that very thick left coat, very hard and thick felted wool base that cannot be seen, trapped in between the lining and the wool top. And made the same with the brim. The brim was made the same, so it would be a super dense brim, you know, with probably I don't know how to make the brim. Perhaps they would put 2 layers of gossamer on top of that heavy felt and 2 layers down. I don't think they would put 4 layers up, 4 layers down. I think 2 layers up, 2 layers down, trapping that very hard, very dense, very thick Mephistophelian cruel felted rabbit fur thing in between to make the brim, and then on top, on both sides, they would cover it in that thin velvet. Probably for Thomas Cook, they use cotton. They would not use silk and cotton for the gamekeepers. That would be very expensive velvet. So it's just a cotton velvet that barely just has very discreet shine and to it, and plush to it, very discreet. So all I mean to say is the brim being so dense, they could completely curl up all the way and have it dead straight still, because there, although it is too flexible and only 3 plies of gossamer max, with some very thin still felt covering both layers that is actually very thin than used here, although there is no gossamer for the crown. And I damaged it, you know, made it thinner and more flexible through steaming. Even like so, when I do that, it barely bends. It does when I wear the hat, because it is the pressure of my head, especially since it is too tight, but otherwise. So the hat would kind of look like that, but with everything shrunk down, you know, smaller scale of length, crown, and in a different shape, and probably no dorsal curl, or max like that, probably max a bit, probably not as flat as that, and certainly no curling in the front. It is just a flat front, just like that, like as if the front was like this. So that, now this is a Cook hat. This is not a Derby, right? This is the actual original Cook hat I just described. I looked and looked for photographs of that. Have any extant pieces survived and been photographed in a museum, or old photographs, and I could not find anything of precisely the original ones or anything, you know, the oldest borders, whatever, things like that I found. I think with some photographs in the 1850s, and looked entirely different to probably more of a softer, more like that type of material hat. But especially the modern British equestrian hats, not necessarily modern, but you know, from the 1910s or 20s, they are way more similar to what I just described than this, in proportions especially, It is only that usually these were made for gentlemen and all, and by them to cover them in felt, which again meant that eventually the felt would shrink down and bring all those problems. But by then they had different felt that were stiff by nature, unlike in Thomas Cook's era, as per my understanding. So what happened was, which I read on the Hat Professor, and he got the source from a man who got it. I mean, the source is certain. Probably what occurred from then is all the gamekeepers, sometimes up to 30 of them or more, wore those hats. He was very famous, and he was one of, I think, the richest men of, if not the richest, of northern England. So kind of equivalent to a multi-billionaire today. And people would see around the area all these men wearing these new hats, these new equestrian hats. And since he was kind of like the boss of the region and popular, if not famous around, and don't forget that back in England was the leader in men's fashion and the leader of the world and practically the order of the world, the British Empire. The fashion caught on rather quickly. Also, it was then in an era when everybody wore these tall top hats, but society was becoming more casual, and a lot of people, even especially from the middle class and not just the working class, were starting on their day off, at least their holidays, especially when it was warm and they were not doing anything formal, to have smaller, lighter, easier to wear hats that were experimenting with smaller brim, less hard, softer hats, kind of more like what hats are today. Yeah, basically more like that and all that. Essentially, that fitted well into that category. So, probably soon after, some people wanted to ride. So I will ride with that, like Thomas Cook had, but it does not need to be that super. It is called a crash weight. At least Harry hat today calls it a crash weight hat when it is with the like a hunting cap with the methysophysin dipped, super hard felt whole base plus the 4 layers of gossamer before the final layer, whether it be surplus or whatever they put on top. Normally cotton hood, so cotton velvet hood, so really like hard as a rock, ultimately resistant. You need a sledgehammer and someone to put it on to even bring proper damage to it. So then we have riding weight. So riding weight, the idea being you ride in a plain, like when to do fox hunting on plains where there are no trees. So the idea being it has to resist if it falls, especially if the horse stampedes on it. But that is the thing, usually it will not fall because there are no branches. If anything, they sometimes wear it rather than like this, they wear it like that and have a strap. Because, except if something, unplanned occurs, like there's a force and the horse suddenly goes untamed and bunkers in wide and it takes you through there and you just hope you wouldn't survive. Otherwise, you will not ride through anything that hangs low. So there is no risk of the hat getting caught and killing you or breaking your neck or pulling you off from the horse. So they wear lower, and even if they wear a hunting cap for that, they tend to wear it with the strap then. And they tend to then have it with a sort of thing that cuts the head in the back, and or at least something that kind of a quilted lining. Sometimes kind of that thing is actually inside the headband. The best ones kind of require it to actually extend from the head. Sometimes they are removable, and probably the most secure ones are built into the heads that are not removable. And to have a top, I like that on the Henry Hats website. It goes all the way to really. It also gives protection. The idea being, if one falls off the horse, I guess. So this